All right, let's do it. So if we're men and we're entering into a custody battle and we don't understand the court system, we don't understand how custody is ruled upon, or if you're going through a divorce case, how property, how alimony, how these different factors come into play are ruled upon, we're bound to get screwed over in it, whether or not we have a lawyer. And we get into this whole argument on whether we should have a lawyer or not, or how lawyers are screwed up and the court systems are screwed up, and they absolutely are. But it does not matter. The person who is going to determine the best interest of your child, if there's any dispute, even at a low level, is going to be done through the courts. And so we have to understand how they work. So yes, we understand they're dangerous. Yes, we understand they're flawed. Yes, we understand that there's all these different problems that happen within them and that men get screwed, and there's tons of horror stories. But I'm telling you, after doing this myself and working with men for 18 years and taking thousands of guys through this, you can learn in the right possible way. You can learn this way so that you can build a great life, be a father afterwards, and even if you're suffering from different things like parental alienation, it's never easy, you can do it. So I really want you to listen up, because I want you to understand this process, because if you get it right, you can prevent mistakes from happening. Now, in addition to that, all of the tragedies that happen to men, meaning they get screwed over in things like child support, or they get a forensic audit, or these different things, and then that ends up in a lawsuit later because the evidence is there, or another case comes out of it, or they get parentally alienated, or they get false accusations or protective orders, or any of these different extreme things that are also common in my groups that we help guys work through legally, mentally, emotionally, and into fatherhood. If you get any of those things, those tragedies that happen, that are also common that we talk about, they have one major factor. They got established in the first two appearances in front of the judge, being unprepared in front of a judge or a mediator or somebody from the attorney general, and we dig our own grave because we didn't know how to do it. We walked into this thinking that it just meant we're a good father. This should be enough. Common sense, how I've told my mother, how I've told my friends, what my kids say about me is going to determine and be a factor in what the court rules on custody. And that's not how it works. So first and foremost, we have to look at the basics, okay? One parent is most likely going to be the primary, unless you're in a 50-50 state. So you got to understand how this works in your state and your county. But like Colorado, they're going to lean towards 50-50. Florida now is leaning towards 50-50. And there's other courts that are making this difference that are leaning towards 50-50. Now in the comments section, you can argue all you want about how unfair you think that is. But if your state doesn't lean towards that, and it picks a primary parent and divides up parenting time, you need to understand how to navigate that. Because if you just go in expecting 50-50 and you can't get it, then you're gonna screw yourself. So in Travis County in Austin, Texas, where I live, a judge, currently, this could change and it changes all the time, but I need to be aware of what's happening right now. If I go in front of a judge and we can't decide, my partner and I can't decide, that judge is not going to choose 50-50. That judge is going to choose standard, expanded standard, whatever the different variations are. But that judge will sign off on 50-50, meaning say they'll agree to it and they'll enforce it in the parenting plan. They will sign off on it if I have an agreement with my partner, my ex, on that. So we have to understand how that works. How do I get what I want? Now, when I show up at the Attorney General's office and I'm looking for child support or these types of things, and I come in unprepared, I don't know what to do, and I make it impossible for that attorney at the Attorney General's or the mediator or whoever it is to determine what my wages are or how those are. They're not thinking of needing to understand me or deliver justice. They're in a government job. They could be a great person, but a lot of times they look like somebody that's stuck in a cubicle the whole time, but there could be great people out there. But there's not a lot of incentive for them to listen to my case, because after my case, they have 20 more cases to go through of people who have conflict, who don't understand the law, who didn't come in prepared, and they're gonna have to go through the same speech they're giving me or my ex or whoever there. And they had 20 people before me. And guess what? Tomorrow they're gonna have that too. And when they're sitting there saying that they have the best interest of the child, they can't have the best interest of the child. They have to default towards laws that they're going to react to and blindly decide because I didn't give them the opportunity to be prepared in it to basically determine the best interest of the child. I don't get to do that. Okay, so, and I get it. I get the argument too here in the comments section. There's going to be people that are saying, I didn't get to do it. I came in with all of that. It's unfair. It's broken. Great. Cool. So are you going to walk into an unfair fight as a weak man that believes in, I'm just going to get screwed? Or are you going to prepare and try and find some chink in the armor in the system? And it's there. It's totally there. It's totally there, especially if there's high conflict. If you come in prepared to the Attorney General, if you come in prepared in front of a judge, if you come in prepared to mediation, and your ex is still in conflict, we don't want her to be, but she's still in conflict and it's not your responsibility, you guys are broken up, and she starts spouting different things off, she's going to be the one making the argument impossible, and you're going to be much more organized and favored in these different things. You're not going to necessarily get what you want, because right now you probably want everything in her to be destroyed because she's destroying you, or whatever the situation is. But you're going to get something more fair. And you're going to be able to use the system to your advantage. This is super important to understand, okay? So obviously in this video, I'm kind of going off on all these different things, but I want you to understand that there's a process to every single point of this. There's a process that you can go to your county clerk's office to go in and get a packet on what happens in divorce and custody, how property is divided, what the current laws are, what you need to present yourself. And it's going to seem like Chinese, and it's going to be there. It's going to be something that you don't understand. There's something on their website that's going to be the child support calculator. You may not understand it, but it's there. You need help through these things. And if you can start to use that, if you can use what the government has given you, your state has given you, to present your case properly, you're then going to be able to give your opinions and your say to the judge more easily, okay? And if you're doing it yourself, pro se, you can't afford an attorney and these types of things, then you definitely need help in guiding yourself through this. And so this is what we do. This is what I was doing 2 hours before this video, actually for 2.5 hours. And actually I delayed a call with my client. And I said, man, can you give me 10 more minutes so I can record this video, because we talked about some stuff that's important on the call, and put this out there. And I'm going to talk to him for another hour, right? This is my daily thing. My daily thing is that I'm always working with these men 24/7, 7 days a week on how we can organize in our court case. And there's things that are unfair, there's things that are screwed up, so why wouldn't you learn how to organize them better? Every single time you're in a court setting, mediation, you're talking to the Attorney General, you're working with a judge, you're in front of them, and they're going to make a decision. That decision is almost impossible to reverse, and you need to do your best. You need to do your absolute best on it. So what we've done is, not only on this YouTube channel, there's tons of resources for it. I always say this. You can go to the workshops that I did in 2021. I need to redo them because there's just more we know now. I mean, how many guys that we've gone from start to finish of their case since 2021 is just an enormous amount. So much more information. And there's also Divorce and Custody, the Survival Guide for Men. That's a standalone product. You can watch those videos and get the PDFs and so on. But here's what I know from coaching guys. And I encourage you to buy that product. It's an amazing digital product. We put everything we had into it, and there's more that's going to come from that. But where men change, where men save thousands of dollars, and I always say $10,000, that's the average. And that's based on what are cases that are high conflict, what are cases that have a protective order, what are cases that have, just disputes in property, or just disputes in terms of not being able to determine a parenting plan. The minimum of that, of all the average costs of those cases, are $10,000 cheaper if they join the Rising Man. You're going to save yourself $10,000 mathematically, or at least we seem to think we've proved it. But I mean, over and over again, you're going to save money joining the Rising Man, because we're going to coach you through all that sort of stuff. And if you're running into something like a protective order or something more complicated, man, it's going to save you $40,000. It's going to save you a lot more. If you get a protective order and you choose to fight that through the legal system, you're at $60,000. But you're going to screw yourself, because you're going to hire the wrong attorneys, people that aren't experts in it. You're going to ask the wrong questions. You're not only going to do that, you're going to hire the wrong expert witnesses. It's going to go wrong and wrong and wrong. And in that time, you show up in front of the judge, one thing gets wrong, it gets continued and lasts another 3 months, or they rule on something because you screwed up and were unprepared that's going to last and affect your children for the rest of your life. You get the idea. So check out the Rising Man. It's there to save you money. We work our asses off for you. As soon as you sign up, as soon as I see it come through, I'm going to shoot you a text message. We're going to set up a questionnaire. We're going to set up a call. You're going to get access to calls. You're going to start working directly immediately, okay? It's really, really important to understand. All right, hope you guys have a good day. Stay alive. It's mentally challenging. All these thoughts of craziness that come into your mind, you're going to be experiencing things you didn't experience before. It's really important that you stay alive through this. You understand there's hope at the end of the tunnel, and we'll take you there. All right? Talk to you guys soon. Ciao.